see a lot of people have when it comes to like tournament streams and just like streams in general, especially with like very large productions, right? Because Red Bull Kumite happened this past weekend, and now everyone's super hype about international rivalries again, and which region is the best and all that. But that's not what I want to talk about. I like to talk about more logistical, fuck all that shit, right? So what I want to talk about, other than my hair being absolutely wild, not wanting to sit inside of my beanie, is that people were really bummed out that the LCQs were not streamed for Tekken or for Street Fighter. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think either of the LCQs were streamed. So there was a lot of action missed out on during the weekend because the LCQs are part of the event but weren't streamed because of the fact that, you know, they weren't played live on people's Twitch channels like they were with the Guilty Gear Strive LCQ, because that happened, you know, weeks before the event. I think even maybe a month before the event, instead of day of, right? And people were really confused and were wondering why. Instead, we saw both of the events for Guilty Gear Strive and Tekken 7 the first day. We did not see the LCQs happening for Street Fighter and for Tekken. And that is because logistically they could not be fit on the schedule with only one stream. Now, I want to explain why they only used one stream, because as you've noticed, a lot of tournaments do use multiple streams. Okay? It's not like unheard of to see a big tournament like an Evo running like 6 streams at the same time, or a tournament as large as Combo Breaker running 3 or 4 streams, or even a more recent example like NEC. NEC had 2 or 3 streams going just 2 or 3 weekends ago. And I believe that Celtic Throwdown, which happened this past weekend, was in the EU, and it had 2 streams. So I can't like fault POs for using multiple streams, but I also can't fault them for not using multiple streams. So the first thing you have to think of whenever you think of multi-streaming for an event, running multiple streams, is one, you need multiple production crews. That's probably the most expensive. You need instead of 1 production crew, you need 2 or 3 or 4, cutting down on your bottom line. 2, you need commentators, right? And what I mean is, I don't mean multiple commentators as in you need to make sure that, you know, there's 2 commentators for Street Fighter, 2 commentators for Tekken, 2 commentators for this, that, the other. You need to make sure that you have commentators even for games that you weren't really wanting to or caring to stream. I mean, sometimes that kind of falls back on volunteers, and people will volunteer to, you know, do commentary for their game, but that still means that you have to have commentary stations for them, and you have to have equipment for them, right? So equipment and manpower is a lot of what you need, and your payoff is higher viewer numbers, ? And we have to put a question mark on that, because when you look at Evo's multi-streams, right, how Evo will have like sometimes 5 streams, right? When Evo was the big tournament, when it was the top dog, so let's say 2018, 2019, if you watched an Evo stream that was not the main Evo stream, it was significantly less viewership. Significantly. I wish that I had the numbers on hand. I had them. I remember looking at them like that year, 2018, like the year specifically that I was thinking of, but I don't have them on hand anymore. It seemed like such a dumb thing to keep. But for the context of this talk, it would make a lot more sense for me to have concrete evidence and hard numbers. But it was a third. It was roughly a third, if I can remember correctly, of the main stream for a lot of the side streams. Some side streams were even less than, right? So that means you're running another stream, you have a full production crew, and you have commentary. Maybe commentary is volunteered. You have all those things, right? Not only that, you're using more electricity, you're using more bandwidth, and maybe with whatever internet plans that they happen to provide, you have to pay for that more bandwidth, right? Keep that in mind here. To have less payoff per stream. And it's probably exponential, or maybe not exponential, but it's probably decreasing down to a number, right? Like you're expecting your main stream to have 50K views on finals day, or, you know, the day before finals, like Saturday, like the top 32 days, top 16 days, right? You're expecting like 10,000 to like 35,000 views on days like that. Now look at the side streams, and they're going to give you significantly less per stream. It's just going to happen, right? Evo 2, Evo 3, Evo 4 are going to have maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, which it may not be worth its weight when it comes to thinking about how much it costs for the production and for the equipment, because the only thing they're getting paid on those streams, that's the sponsorship money that goes towards paying for a lot of the equipment and commentators and paying the production crew, is advertising. Actual ad revenue for the mainstream might make up a lot of your losses, might recoup a lot of your losses, right? And then of course, tournament entries, tournament registrations, all of that nonsense, any amount of cut that the hotel might give you for bringing in so many people. But when it comes to actually making money via ads, remember, you're losing significant viewership per stream. So expecting Red Bull Kumite, a very large event, even though Red Bull has a lot of money, but we can say that the money was well spent, right? They had top-notch production, they had top-notch commentators, and they had an amazing setting, right? They were fighting inside of a ring. All of that probably cost a lot of money. Red Bull spent a lot of money already on the event. Now imagine them spending another, I don't know, third of their budget, fourth of their budget for another production crew just for day one for the LCQs. It doesn't logistically make sense, right? If they do that, but I could see how, from a spectator standpoint, it feels kind of bad to miss so much of the event because you're too busy having to watch these top 16, top 8. I'm sorry, these 16-man invitationals instead of actually getting to watch the open bracket slaughter that was the last chance qualifiers for both of these events. I can respect the idea of it, but when you look at other events, I think this past weekend there was a Super Smash Bros. Tournament that recently happened called Main Stage. They had multi-stream, dude, and it's because it was Beyond the Summit, and they have a fat wallet when it comes to supporting the Super Smash Bros. Community. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Like, there's been like 11 Smash Summits already, 10 Smash Summits already. There's been a lot of Smash Summits. They have a really big wallet when it comes to supporting the Super Smash Bros. Community. And yeah, Red Bull has sponsored players, but I don't know if Red Bull Esports has that same look, that same drive when it comes to fighting games as they do for their other ventures when it comes to esports, right? Red Bull doesn't just have fighting game players on their esports team; they have shooting game and MOBA and card game players on their team as well. They've got to use a lot of their budget for things like that. But it was nice to see. It's cool to see that offline events are coming back in a big way. But even with tournaments as grand as Red Bull Kumite was, because it was a pretty big production, there's still gonna be some sacrifices getting made, right? There was no real live audience. I don't think there was anyone, and if there was very few people. But it's because once again, we're still in the pandemic, we're still in the COVID times. It's gonna be like that for a while. But it is cool to see these things comes back, and hopefully maybe one day the next Red Bull Kumite next year, a year after, we'll have a live audience again. We'll have, even if it's small, we'll have multiple production teams to run multiple streams so we don't miss out on so much of the action. But for now, in this transitional period, I think we should be a little more lenient, right? A little more lenient with how things are being done right now. Just wanted to clear up some of the confusion when it comes to why we don't have multi-streams for every big tournament that happens. Because it costs a lot of money, and the payoff might not be as big as they need it to be to take the dive to have a multi. Anyways, if you watch this on YouTube, just know that every day of the week, minus I think every day of the week almost, I'm streaming live, twitch.tv. Come through to the streams. Even if you only show up for the talk segment, show up for the talk segments. If not, and you actually like the gameplay that goes up on YouTube for some odd reason, because I'm very bad at the games that I do like to play, come through and hang out while I play some video games. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.